They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
All right, guys, that was back-to-back days where y'all are able to go out there. Y'all are able to smash that like button and get us over 100 likes on the first day the video is uploaded. And when that happens, like I've done the past 2 days, I've gone through and answered every single one of your questions in the comments. I'm very sorry if, for whatever reason, I did not get to your question. I don't know why that would be the case, just because I went through one by one answering every single one that I saw. But as always, if you have any questions, make sure you go down to the comment section, and as soon as we hit 100 likes on the video, that will tell me that it's time to go through and mass answer all of those questions at once, trying to give as much help as I can. But this video, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be going through and looking at some players where over their past 5 games, they have been horrendous. Over their past 5 games, it looks like they are trending significantly downwards. And some of these guys are going to be buy lows. Some of them are going to be guys we want to be dropping off our roster completely. And then some players may be guys that we want to be trading away. But let's get into it. And our first guy is going to be someone that it was time to drop a long time ago. He looks like one of the biggest busts in fantasy basketball for 2021. It's going to be Blake Griffin. And here with Blake Griffin, over his past 5 games, it's been laughable. I mean, it has been horrendous, where he is still seeing close to 30 minutes a game. So he has no reason to really come out here and not follow through with production, as he is seeing a good amount of usage in this rotation. And we know that there will be more shots to be had with Derrick Rose leaving. But Blake Griffin has not picked up anything at all. I mean, we all know the statistics on how bad he has been at getting to the basket and actually dunking the basketball so far this year. But through the past 5 games, not only has scoring been an issue, not only has he been barely cracking 10 points a game, but at the same time, he's not even giving you rebounding. I mean, he's giving you 3.5 boards a game over the past 5. And for a big man, that is just inexcusable. I mean, maybe if you're going out there and dropping 30, 35 points and you're having a good amount of dimes at the same time, we can go, okay, well, let's overlook the rebounds. A big man doesn't need a rebound. But no, here, Blake Griffin, 3 rebounds a game is going to kill you if you ever decide to put him in your fantasy basketball lineup. So at this point, what would have to happen for Blake Griffin to make an impact in 2021? I think it's pretty much nothing. I think it's impossible for Blake Griffin to kind of turn his season around at this point. So if for whatever reason you still have him on your roster, I think we just need to go out there and cut him completely. All right, so now our next player is going to be someone that we need to watch over the next few weeks. And this one is going to be Eric Bledsoe. And I have no idea how we received so many questions with Bledsoe in yesterday's video in the comment section, but I felt like I had to go through and answer a million of them. And right now, I mean, he is trending downwards in a strong way. He is averaging 25 minutes over the past 5 games. That's nothing really out of the ordinary for him, but the efficiency on his shots have been so bad. I mean, he is still putting up a decent amount of field goal attempts, but just because of his poor play, his efficiency numbers have dragged him down to the point where he is only seeing about 10 points a game, very similar to Blake Griffin. And he's only giving you 3 rebounds and he's only giving you 3 assists at the same time. Now with Bledsoe, definitely cannot cut him off your roster, especially considering that this team could possibly go out there and make some moves before the deadline. So it's going to be a situation that we definitely need to monitor over the next few weeks. But if you could sell him for pretty much anything at this point, that's something that I would look to do, just because, I mean, clearly he has lost a step. Clearly he is not a natural fit in this rotation. So I also don't really understand what the upside here is with Eric Bledsoe unless we get a trade very soon that opens up more touches in the rotation. All right, so now our next player, I have been advising you to go out there and try to trade for about a month now, and I just look like I am horribly wrong. I mean, I should be embarrassed at this point for what I was telling you a few weeks ago. and this is Michael Porter Jr. Okay, so right now, guys, I know y'all are tired of hearing it. You're tired of hearing me say, go buy Michael Porter Jr. on the low. But over his past 5, I mean, he's had 11 points a game. He's had 5 rebounds a game, only 1 assist at the same time. And with Michael Porter Jr., I've said this a million times, so I don't want to dive too deep into it. But this is a player that the efficiency numbers are always going to be very high. The turnovers are always going to be very low, because the style of basketball that he plays for this team, he's really off the ball. I mean, he's really a Klay Thompson type, where you're just looking at a big-bodied wing, just killer at putting up shots, killer at getting to the basket, but he is able to do so much without the ball in his hands. And we know that Jokic, we know that Jamal Murray are going to be the main 2 guys in this rotation. So with Michael Porter Jr., I've always said, if you play in a points format, that's not necessarily where you want him, because in a points format, what you want is you want the guys that are going to have a ridiculous amount of volume, the guys that are going to be putting up shots, getting assists, and taking the ball down the court. No, where you want Michael Porter Jr. is you want him in a category format where you're going to be able to take advantage of his very high free throw percentage, you're going to be able to take advantage of his very high field goal percentage, and the fact that he is going to be committing close to 0 turnovers a game. So please understand your scoring format. Understand that Michael Porter Jr. is going to be a good buy low candidate in a certain scoring format, whereas in another, I just want to stay away entirely. All right, so now our next player, also someone that I feel like we're just talking about over and over and over again, but he had a major change in his rotation, so we kind of have to talk about him. And this is RJ Barrett. Okay, so right now with RJ Barrett, I mean, over the past 5, we've seen his minutes drastically decline. Over the past 5 games, RJ Barrett has been averaging about 28 minutes a game, and this has led in a decrease in almost every single statistical category. Now, I said that I did not think that Derrick Rose coming in was going to affect the rotation in terms of the amount of minutes that we are going to have for RJ Barrett, but they've decided to shave some of those down. We all know that Tom Thibodeau loves to give his starters as many minutes as their bodies can physically handle. Honestly, for RJ Barrett and the New York Knicks organization, I'm glad that he's no longer seeing 36, 37, 38 minutes a game. I would prefer him to be down closer to the 33 range. So here at 28, I expect that RJ Barrett should see more minutes going forward compared to what he's had in the past 5. But the points, the rebounds, the assists, I don't know what we can expect here. I mean, the efficiency has been very bad all season, but I said that we could possibly expect the volume to go down with Derrick Rose coming in, but the opposing team may have to give a little bit more respect to Derrick Rose and not necessarily just key in on RJ Barrett and Julius Randle. So this is still going to be something that's way too early to tell. I mean, we've only had 2 games so far with Derrick Rose. So I think at this point, maybe we have to say, if the RJ Barrett owner in your league is a little bit scared, if he's looking at Derrick Rose kind of changing the way that this New York Knicks team runs, then maybe you can buy RJ Barrett on the low, but definitely a player that I want in a points format, as I'm never really expecting the free throw percentage or the field goal percentage to be sky high for RJ. All right, so now our next player is going to be someone that has been consistently trending downwards, and this is Andre Drummond. And so, guys, I understand. I mean, Andre Drummond has still been scoring the basketball. He's still been giving you some very effective nights, but because of the other big men in Cleveland that are now seeing more minutes, Andre Drummond just is not as consistent as he once was. I mean, he is not that consistent top option that we can rely on. Andre Drummond right now for the past 5 games is averaging 15 points, 2 assists, but the main thing that we have to look at is the fact that his minutes per game have gone down from about 30 minutes a game now down to 26. And this is something that we expected. I mean, we knew that more big men coming into the rotation on a team that has already so many players at that position was going to take away from Andre Drummond. And with the personnel changes, with the minutes going down, we've also seen his rebounds go down from 14 to 9. So I will say, don't panic on Andre Drummond. Don't trade him away right away, just because I am looking at a player like this and going, it makes so much sense with the personnel that the Cleveland Cavaliers have and with the team aspirations over the next few years to try to see what kind of value you can get for Andre Drummond. I don't understand why this player would not be traded before the deadline. And if he is, I think we can all expect that his minutes should be going up in whatever team he finds himself in on. And the rebounds should be at an elite level once again. All right, so now our next player that we are going to talk about is someone that I repeatedly told you to trade for at the very beginning of this fantasy season. And this is Malcolm Brogdon. And here with Malcolm Brogdon, I really don't want to take too much away from what we've seen over the past 5 games. I mean, his rebounds and his assists per game have kind of stayed neutral at anywhere from 4 to 5. We know that's going to fluctuate on a night-to-night basis, but I mean, he's never going to be killing you. We're never going to be winning your matchup straight up off of rebounds and assists. We know that's just kind of a compliment to what he's able to do with his point production. And here, that's the problem. I mean, the points per game for Malcolm Brogdon have gone down from like 22, 21 points per game down to 14 over the past 5 games. Now, I don't have an exact explanation of why this has happened, but we all know sample sizes are weird. I mean, when you're looking at a sample size of only 5 games, it's so small that really one outlier in there can kind of skew the entire number. So if you can get a discount on Malcolm Brogdon right now, I think that's something we would look to do. I just felt the need to bring him up because we had so many trade questions resolved about Malcolm Brogdon in the video yesterday in the comment section. All right, so now our next player was also someone that y'all were asking me about repeatedly in the comment section yesterday. And this is going to be Miles Turner. And here with Miles Turner, I didn't even notice the drop-off in production just because I'm going to be completely honest. I don't really have Miles Turner everywhere. I mean, but we are looking at his production from the season-long perspective to the past 5 games. And yeah, I mean, it hasn't been pretty. We've seen his minutes per game go down from 31 to 26. We've seen his points per game go down to 13 to 8. And obviously, you're not going to be drafting, you're not going to be starting Miles Turner for the amount of points that he's going to score any given night. The reason you're drafting Miles Turner is for the elite production in the block category, where earlier this season, he was averaging over 4 blocks a game. But this is a number that's also come down. Now we've seen Miles Turner kind of go out there, maybe get a night with 2 blocks, maybe get a night with 1 block, which that is completely fine. I mean, you cannot be looking at a big man who's giving you 2 blocks a night and really bat an eye at it. I mean, you just have to be happy with what you're going to get. But the rebounds have been down slightly for Miles Turner at the same time. Now, that is something that I think we can kind of look at and go, you know what? This number needs to, quote-unquote, rebound, just a lack of a better word there. And hopefully we get back what we had at the beginning of the season. All right, so now the last player I'm going to bring up, someone that I've never liked, someone that I actually told y'all, though, to trade for on the low about 2 or 3 weeks ago when he hadn't played in a couple weeks, when the entire situation was disgusting. And this is going to be Russell Westbrook. So obviously, Westbrook is never and will never be a player that you would want in a category format. I mean, Westbrook has not shot over 50% from the field in any given night, not in a single game since January. I know that sounds crazy, but his last night shooting over 50% from the field was against the Brooklyn Nets, and I promise y'all, whenever he had that blow-up performance against the Brooklyn Nets, I had so many DMs going, Mason, how'd you like that Westbrook performance, you hater? Telling me that I did not know what I was talking about, that Westbrook was back. Well, I just kind of want to bring him up in this video saying he's not back. Over the past 5 games, he's averaging 17 points a game. He hasn't shot over 50% since January. So, I mean, maybe you can say the efficiency is right back to where it was, which was one of the worst players in the entire NBA if you're looking at net rating, if you're looking at his impact that he has when he's on the court. I mean, Westbrook at this point, I don't know if it's him dealing with a multitude of injuries or what is going on, because he just looks like a player that should not be seeing nearly this amount of minutes in his rotation. All right, now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton, and I'll see y'all with the video tomorrow.